Everybody's heard of Wish, right? I mean, you're scrolling through Facebook or another app and then a recommended product from Wish shows up and you're always tempted to get it, but I'd always been kind of sketched out like, is this a scam or not? Well, Ed was browsing Wish and he came across Reptile products for insanely cheap prices. So we took the risk and we ordered up a bunch of different Reptile products so that we can test them out in today's video. For each of these products, we are going to be testing them out and comparing them to similar but name brand Reptile products on the market to see if the value is worth the quality that you get. The whole inspiration behind this video was actually when Ed came across a heat mat that was produced by or available through Wish. All of our heat mats in America have this cord and a plug that just plugs right into the wall outlet, but that means you have to use a thermostat, of course, to regulate the heat mat's temperature and prevent it from overheating. However, the heat mat sold through Wish has a built-in rheostat, which I don't know why the heat mats in the US aren't made with these already. Maybe there's a reason behind it though, and that's why we got this, is so we could test it out today and see how well this works. The heat mats sold through Wish, and by the way, Wish is not a sponsor to this video, I should mention that right now. They are not a sponsor. Now, the cost of these mats is considerably cheaper than the name brand Reptile mats we have in America. This one here is $9 for a 7-watt mat with the rheostat built in, whereas a similar, just an 8-watt was the closest one we could get to. An 8-watt Exoterra heat mat is $17. And then when you move up in size, I mean, the heat mats in America can get upwards of like $30 or sometimes $40, but the biggest size we were able to buy on Wish, which was this 28-watt mat, which is just massive, it was a whopping $15. And all the prices that we're going to mention from the Wish products have shipping already included, by the way. Now, you may have noticed, especially if you're in America, that the plug here is definitely made for European use. This does not work with our American outlets, but that was actually our fault. We ordered the wrong one. You can buy these with the American plug, we found out, but what we ended up doing was we just bought an adapter that you can plug this into, and that plugs into our wall. And we currently have this heat mat plugged into that adapter because we're going to test it out and see how warm it gets compared to a similar sized mat made from ZoomEd. Here's the ZoomEd mat. It's the closest thing we could find to this guy in terms of wattage and size. I just plugged it in, and this one's been plugged in for a few minutes. So we're going to keep moving along and give them some time to warm up, and then we're going to use this temp gun and compare the temperatures. And by the way, since this one has a rheostat, we did turn this one up all the way because that's going to replicate what the ZoomEd mat will practically do. While we wait for the heat mats to warm up, we're going to move on to the next product, which were these tweezers or feeding tongs we got off of Wish. I have not looked at these yet. Oh, look at that. They're a little bit bent. How much were these? These were $3.76, and these guys range anywhere from $5 to $10 each. So regardless, these are going to be cheaper, but maybe you get what you pay for here. Yeah. Definitely have some bend to them. Could you bend them back?
I bet you could.
Oh!
You bent them way back.
You gonna straighten them out?
Try something. They're still a little bit warped, but you know.
There we go. I see. You bent them out, and then they come back in the middle, so you can pinch it a little bit better. I am feeling just right away that these are quite a bit flimsier. They're just thinner, I guess, than the other ones here. This is definitely a thicker metal, and it weighs considerably more than the Wish one. The Exoterra ones are actually pretty similar to the Wish ones because they're both with this like flat metal, but even the Exoterra ones are quite a bit larger too. They're heftier, and I think, oh yeah, they've got a lot more. They're not nearly as flimsy. I'm just feeling right now this is very wobbly. Ed said we need to test this out, like make this legit. So we have a frozen rat. And we have, this is, I think the ZoomEd. It doesn't say on here, but I think these are ZoomEd feeding tongs. So, I mean, okay, got that. We'll do the wiggle test here. Yeah. Got it. All right. We'll do it with the Exoterra with the grippies. Not a huge fan of these, honestly. I think they bend a lot more in the middle, so I usually don't use these for that reason. Also, I think these slips on the ends make it lose grip. But then, let's try Wish. Yep, that's not gonna last either. Okay, this one, whatever brand this is. Okay, Ed's on it. We want to know what brand these are because this is definitely the superior tweezer. Okay, it is confirmed. These are ZoomEd feeding tongs, and these are the best ones, in our opinion, between these three, based on our very
scientific accurate test.
Yes, very scientific test. anything with small meals.
Yeah.
I mean, for less than $4, these are gonna work just fine. For anything bigger than a large mouse, though, I don't think I'd recommend these off of Wish. Before we move on to the next one, I wanna just see if the heat mat is in fact warming up. It says about 75 right now, and ZoomEd is at 92. Okay, so ZoomEd heats up a lot faster.
But I also wonder if it's something to do with the converter, too.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Who knows?
That could be. We'll give it more time. We'll check in a little bit later, too.
Alright, so the next one, you don't know about.
I don't.
So.
He's been teasing this one. He's very excited about this one, but I don't know what it is.
Close your eyes.
Okay.
And you close your eyes. Get this out of here. Alright, you can both open your eyes.
Box? Oh, it's a baby rack! No way! They had one of these?
They had one of these.
Okay, I'm gonna stand up for this one. This is awesome! Cool!
It's teeny.
It's itty bitty. I love miniatures though. This is adorable. Oh, weird. An 8-slot hatchling rack. Oh, cool. Look, there's is that a temperature and a hydrometer?
Nice.
You see that?
Yeah, I wonder where the probe is.
How is it heated though?
Through this guy.
Oh.
The heat mat that slides in the back.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, you're gonna have to slide him off over it.
Okay. So I'll just. There we go.
Yeah,
Oh, do I have it on the right side?
oh, you might have it backwards.
Oh, and it's backwards.
That would explain why it's bent that way.
Oh, yeah, it slides in much easier that way. Look at that. Cool. And it's like the same style of heat mat too. It comes with the rheostat heat mat.
Yep.
Wow. That is so cool. So I don't know why. I'm just looking at these bins. They have a little raised back portion to them. I'm not really sure why that is, but it doesn't affect the heat of the bins because the mat is in the back.
So it's very little, and they made it look a lot bigger
In the
on
picture,
Wish,
did
of
they?
course.
14 inches tall,
14.
8 inches deep,
Okay.
and 10 inches wide.
There you go.
This is a tiny rack, but
I don't
it's
even know
super
what you
cute.
really put in there. Maybe baby hog noses.
Small spiders. But yeah, baby hognoses, that could work. So our current baby rack has these bins. This is a boaphile rack. And
It's almost as tall as the entire rack is.
it really is. But I mean, it could work for some things. Like you could totally put a hatchling hognose in here for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Like temporarily until it sells, I suppose. Should we put one in? Let's see what one looks like in here.
Alright.
Okay, here's a mock-up of one of these baby bins. It is so little that we have no caves that are the right size for it. So we're gonna put this water dish in, because this is one of those, hollow ones, so I guess it could count as a hide. And then I think the only other thing you can fit would be a leaf as a hide. Look at that! It's so tiny. Now we need a snake for it.
Yeah, here you go.
Aw, we'll put a hognose in it. Oh, and she's gonna push the leaf. Well, pretend there's still a leaf in there, guys. So I mean, it's small even for a hatchling hognose, but it could work temporarily.
Yeah.
I suppose,
If
or
you're
maybe.
just moving your hogs really quickly from getting them eaten and then shipping them out, that's...
Yeah, so for a breeder standpoint, this could work for like a single clutch of hognoses.
Or somebody who's trying to get into breeding hognoses, like wants to breed their first clutch, this would be a fairly affordable rack to use.
Now this rack is actually really sturdy. It's not flimsy at all. It seems to be pretty well built. It's made out of PVC, and it also has decent ventilation on the sides too, which even our boaphile doesn't have ventilation on the sides, so I really like that feature as well. Oh, cool. They even have, do you see this? They have holes in the front, so you can put like a pin in it to lock the bin in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's really neat. So this whole rack cost $104. And it comes with built-in heat and a thermometer and a hydrometer, which is really cool. And that heat mat has a dial. It has a rheostat, so you hypothetically don't need a thermostat along with it. So for $100 after shipping, that's a pretty good price, I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, our boaphile, which is this one, is about $450. So, I mean, that's an 18 bin rack, but it could work for the right circumstance.
Yep.
Well, I think I approve of the rack.
Yeah.
The rack is really cool for $100. I think it's a good deal for the right person.
The right application.
Exactly. Shameless plug. We've got new merch. There's a new really cool design coming out too. There's like several along this theme, if you get what I mean here. This is Arbhog, and one of our fans, who is an amazing artist, actually created these. So go check it out. I'll put a link in the description. Okay, let's do another test on the heat mat. It was at 75 before. It is now still at 75. ZoomEd is at 103.
Ambient temperature in here is 69 degrees, so it's only
So
5
it is
degrees
heating.
above ambient temperature.
Yeah, it's just not heating very well.
Yeah.
The next product has to do with cleaning. With the canister filters we have for our reptiles, they get gunked up pretty well because they're used for our turtles and for Rex, our alligator. And so what we do is, it's the tubing that gets all gunked up and gross, the tubing that leads to the canister filter. So we ended up buying a oversized pipe cleaner to kind of clear out those tubes, and it's pretty rigid. And the problem with this is I'll push it into the tubing, but then the bristles get in the way and I can't pull it back out. So Ed came across a similar but hopefully improved product on Wish that's just a flexible pipe cleaner. This brings me back to my band days with the French horn. I would use these to clean out the pipes from the horn, but now I'm using them on turtle poop. That's quite the change in my adult life nowadays. Whoa! Oh, that's cool. It comes in 2 sizes. Look at that. Now, we will probably be utilizing the thicker end here to be the cleaning end because we use 1-inch piping for all of our aquatic reptiles. We'll be using this to feed in the small end, and then we'll just take this end. Ew, gross. And we'll pull it through, and then the thicker end will clean everything out. Ew, that's gross. This was a used tube. It works!
It works!
This pipe cleaner was $4 on Wish, and for the same pipe cleaner you can get it for $6 to $10 on Amazon. So I'd say this one is definitely worth the value.
Yeah.
This is a really nice cleaner. I like it.
As long as you can wait a month to 2 months for it to come in.
Yeah, yeah. That's the one downside to Wish. Is that, well, one of the downsides to Wish is that it takes a long time to receive your products.
And you don't know what you're gonna get. Like a baby rack that's only 18 inches tall.
Apparently things are smaller than you might expect. For our last product to compare in today's video, we have misting systems. 2 of the more commonly bought and used misting systems in reptiles would be the Exoterra Monsoon, which ranges from $80 to $120 depending on the size. This is the larger one, so this is about $120. And the other one that's pretty well known is the Mist King pump. Now this is obviously just the pump, whereas the Monsoon is the reservoir and everything all in one. And this pump is about $120, but it can go upwards of around $220 depending on the size, again, of the pump. But this is also programmable. It has its own little keypad here that you use to program the frequency and duration of the mists, but since it doesn't come with its own reservoir, you do have to provide your own, which is as easy as a 5-gallon bucket. So we use both of these just for different animals. We use the Mist King for our multiple green tree python enclosures, and we use the Monsoon, which is really best for just a single enclosure in our opinion. We use this for our false chameleon habitat. Now the Wish mister that we bought, or Ed bought, is this little guy. So this is very similar in look to the Mist King. Man, this thing is heavy duty. It's very similar to the Mist King except for much smaller, but in regards to how it works, it's similar. So you need your own reservoir, but it doesn't come with any programmer like the Mist King does. So we figured you could take this and plug it into a wall timer and then just have it be one of the digital timers so you can program the timer to control the pump. So we're gonna test it out just to see how it works in general. This pump, which is the Wish pump, came with a bunch of other supplies too. It was actually a kit. It's a whole misting kit. It was $55 after shipping. And as you can see, Ed's been kind of playing around with the tubing a little bit, but the nozzles it comes with are surprisingly heavy duty. These seem really well built. By the way, it also comes with this, which we determined was a filter of sorts. As the water gets sucked in through the bucket, it goes through this filter, which kind of catches any debris so it doesn't go through the piping. But it goes through this filter, it goes up and out and through this piping, through the pump, and into the enclosure through the nozzles. So let's test it out. Let's see how it works. All right, we have water. We ran into an issue though. This is set up for Mist King, right? So it has this tube. Well, the water was just gonna leak right out of the tube. So Ed stuffed a chopstick in it. It's very scientific. That's what our plug is gonna be today. So now we're gonna put our filter in. I'm really excited to see how this pump works because this was so cheap. 3, 2, 1. Oh.
Sounds good. It's got a lot of tube to work through.
Yeah, it's going through the tubing. Okay, okay. Should start spraying soon.
Come on.
It's dripping. I mean, something's kind of happening to some of the nozzles. We have it in the right direction, right? Yeah, because it was pushing bubbles out of these nozzles.
There we go.
Oh, it works.
It works, but I don't think it's supposed to make that noise.
No, yeah, why is it pulsing? Oh my gosh! Ah!
Maybe
Okay.
it's supposed to pulse.
Okay, well, that's that.
I mean, it missed. Doesn't sound good, but it missed.
Everything is wet.
Yep.
That's why we did this last.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Good.
I'd say that was a success. But
No.
it's very loud.
Very, very loud mist
Very.
system.
But the mist came out at a steady stream.
Yep.
So, I mean, it works. It's $50. You can't beat a pump for that price. But it might not work for your situation if you don't want something extremely loud. Okay, now we're going to test out the same 6 nozzles that the Wish one came with, but we're going to use the Mist King to see how it works in comparison to that one.
So basically this one's a little bit more complex and a little bit better in my opinion. Draws from the reservoir here, goes through the pump and up and through. But see, when you have it that way, it can drip. And this motor right here takes the drip out after it's shut off. So when they shut off, it can't keep pulling because it's shut off here.
Then we've got this with the Mist King.
Yep, and then this one, you can set different times that you want things to turn on and off.
So that's another big difference between one of the, I guess, the name brand versus Wish. That one's just plug it in and it's on, unplug it and it's off. And no, Mist King is not a sponsor either.
I just really like their stuff.
Yeah, they have good stuff. Whoa, whoa.
So the pump is dead quiet.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's silent. So if you don't mind a very loud pump, then the Wish would be the cheaper option, and it seems to work just fine. And if you don't want something that's extremely loud, but you're able to pay a bit more for it, the Mist King is what we'd recommend instead.
Oh.
So Ed and I are in agreement that we're not huge fans of the misting system, or the pump, but what about the nozzles it comes with? So we're going to test the Wish nozzles against the Mist King and the Exoterra nozzles.
So here's the Exoterra nozzles, very straight and to the point. Here's the Mist King nozzles. Very similar to the Wish nozzles.
Yeah.
Just a single, instead of having the T already built in, you have to buy the T separately.
Here we have a comparison of all 3 brands of nozzles. The first thing I notice is that the Mist King's nozzle seems to have, in my opinion, a more finer spray, and it also has a wider range of where it sprays to, but this means the mist doesn't reach as far out. So in our opinion, the Mist King nozzle might be best if it's at the top of the enclosure aimed downwards, so it spreads throughout the entire enclosure, whereas the other 2 brands seem like they do best if they're more horizontally oriented because they spray further into the enclosure. So there you have it. Those are the items that Ed found on Wish compared to the name brand items. So really quick, we'd like to just go through them all one last time to share our final thoughts on all of them. We started with the heat mats, which this is still not up to temp for some reason. Ed is going to try something at the end of this video so that maybe it will work properly. We'll give you an update, either way at the end of the video. The tweezers seem like they would be great for smaller prey items, but maybe not for larger prey items like rats. The baby rack is awesome, even though it's tiny. The pipe cleaner here seems like it's an excellent purchase and only, how much was that one? $4? Yeah, super cheap. And finally, the misting system. It works. It's really loud, but it does work. Although overall, I don't think we're gonna use this, honestly.
What did you learn during the testing?
What did I?
Yeah.
I don't know. I learned that I like baby racks. I think it's adorable.
I learned that testing water pumps, you should be outside when you're testing them.
That's true. I did learn that too. It took us a while to clean up everything. We made a mess.
Yeah, we did. There was water everywhere.
Yes, there was. Thank you everybody for watching today's video, and thank you to all of the Patreon supporters for backing this channel. It was your funds that allowed us to experimentally purchase all of these things to try out for you. So hopefully you guys learned something too because of it. Final thoughts, I guess, to leave with are that Wish products do take a while to arrive, so if you want to buy any of these, make sure you have the patience to wait like about a month or so for it to arrive at your door. And also, a lot of these products, actually I think all of these products are made in China, aren't they?
Wish is a Chinese company.
Yeah, so I guess that's another thing you want to morally keep in mind is, do you want to buy this product from Wish that was made in China, or do you want to buy something that's made in America and spend a few extra dollars for it? So I know there's people watching from all around the world, so take that with a grain of salt, but it's just something to think about. But thank you again everybody for watching. I will input our experimental plug splicing into this at the end of the video, and we'll see you next time. Alright guys, we have the results for these heat mats. These awesome ideas for a heat mat. They don't work. Or they work, but they barely work. They get like maybe 5 degrees above ambient or room temperature with or without an adapter. Because what we did was we plugged in, since we got the ones with the wrong style of plug, we used an adapter and plugged them into our wall, and they barely warmed up. So then we thought, well, maybe it was the adapter. So Ed spliced the wiring to an American plug, and it did the same thing. It just barely warmed up. So then we thought, maybe it was just this heat mat that was having issues. So we did the same thing with the smaller heat mat, same thing. So they just barely work, guys. Even when the rheostat is turned all the way up, it just barely warms up. So then we checked the baby rack over here to see how that one would work. Cheyenne's really antsy for some reason.
Yes, she is.
And the heat mat in here, it's been plugged in for about 6 hours, and let me show you kind of what we're dealing with. It is 84.5 degrees Fahrenheit, and that means inside of these bins, it's like a whole 75, 76 degrees, which is just not warm enough for a snake to warm up enough and digest its food comfortably. So it's kind of a disappointment. I mean, if 5 degrees above room temperature is what you need, then these are perfect, but that's not going to be ideal in most reptile situations. I don't know why this idea hasn't been implemented in our US brands of reptile products, because I think this rheostat is ingenious to have it be a part of the mat. So come on, guys. Come on, Zilla. Work on something like this.
Yeah, come on, Ryan.
Come on, Ryan. Bill, get on Ryan. Make him make this.
But make it work.
Yeah, please make it work. But yep, those are the results in our many tests that we've been doing the last couple of days. So save your money and buy a better... It's garbage anyway.
Yeah.
Buy a better heat mat.
Don't buy their heat mats.